How come most startups fail, even when we have more tactics and strategies than ever before? Join the bedside chat of an entrepreneurial couple as they share what it takes to create a business with ease and in flow.
Welcome back to another Biz in Flow bedside chat. I'm Natasha Q.
And I'm Jachym.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Today was kind of like a day off, wasn't it, for us?
Today was a day off, that's right. We went for a long walk. We enjoyed the sun and we were by a river and we had a picnic outside. And, well, you did actually work. I did very, very little. I did a little bit, but very little.
What Jachym's trying to say is that he took a nap in the sun, which I don't blame him for.
I did take a nap, but I did do also something for Biz in Flow.
A tiny bit, but I don't blame you because you're out in the sun. It's a beautiful day and it's that very pristine Swiss landscape with the farms behind you, the mountains in the back, a little creek next to you, and we came across a swimming snake on the creek. It was really crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
But yeah, we're still here recording another episode for you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you want to record an episode today or you want to skip today? And Natty was like, nah, I think it would be good. So let's see what she has to say.
I'm the trooper. I'm the Capricorn and I'm going to bite and I'm not going to let go. I don't know what I'm biting in this case, but yeah, I don't let go. So I came across a YouTube video. Honestly, it's one of the worst YouTube videos I've ever seen, and I'm sure many of us have seen many of those videos and you're not even sure why you're watching it, but you're still watching it. But anyways, I watched I think 10 minutes of this. This is of this little girl, young girl, reviewing her, what was it called? Changing room special ticket to see Demi Lovato. So, I think that's her name, Lovato? Yeah. I'm not really into pop culture, but I do know that she's a huge singer at the moment, a big pop icon, actually a very talented singer. And I was watching this girl review her like VIP pass. This sounds really out of topic, but it's not, because this girl, along with her friends, I think they spent like $10,000, probably $10,000 US or so, about $2,500 each girl to see her, to see Demi in her flesh, to get behind the scenes access to, I don't know, her changing room, the stage, I don't know, spend 30 minutes with Demi. And I actually watched, okay, I have to admit this, full disclosure here. Then I watched the second video, which was a vlog of her where Demi comes into the room and all 4 or 5 of her teenage girlfriends didn't really freak out, but they were just hanging out with Demi. There was no real conversation, though Demi was nice. There wasn't any like, I don't know, worship of the pop idol. It was just a bunch of girls kind of hanging out awkwardly in a room because Demi doesn't know anything about her fans, and all her fans know everything about her. So she's like, should I sign some stuff for you? They're like, yeah, sign my phone. And yeah, can we take a selfie? And that's what they paid $2,500 for. It was madness.
Well, that's the power of being famous and people wanting to spend time with you.
Well, I don't think it's just that. It's just our concept of money and how much we charge. It's also an idea of value, because there are going to be people who are willing to pay that and think it's completely worth it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that really opened my eyes to not only how you can earn money, which is, on tour and with like extra special VIP passes, but the fact that you can just set something up, people see the value in it, people worship you, or they really value you to the point where I don't know what exactly it gives them to be in the presence of their pop idol, but it gives them something that's apparently worth a lot.
Well, it's worth a lot to them, and I think that's very important. It's actually a really important point when you are a business owner or creating a business or an entrepreneur, that value is what a what a person perceives to be valuable. That's really important. We agree on something being valuable, and therefore we pay for it. So, for example, let's take 2017, Bitcoin has had a huge rise in value. Well, it's a bunch of code, really, in a network, but for some reason, people start to believe in it, and they see value in it, and they're paying for it. And the same is actually with paintings. You see paintings, and they get sold for millions and millions of dollars because of the perception that this is this much value in it. And so value is a highly subjective thing, and knowing that is very important, because whatever you're selling, what's important is that the person who's buying it, or that the culture that gets built around it, that it becomes valuable to people, that their perception of it is that this is amazing.
Mm-hmm. And we're at a point in time where the market is really full, because there's so many people on this planet, and the the barrier to entry to become a business owner and entrepreneur is lower and lower. So lots of people are offering products and services. But at the same time, we also have expanded as consumers to open up our hobbies, our interests, and we're available to so much information that we're actually able to become interested in so many more things. So it's kind of fun, because when we talk about this topic of pricing and value and what the market actually demands, if you take a close look at it, it's very, very curious. Okay, I'm sorry, it's another YouTube video that I watched. I think I need to go to some meeting about this particular habit of mine. But anyways, this was a long time ago, so it's not all in one day, so no big deal, right? A while ago, I was watching a YouTube video of a lady from China who's teaching etiquette class. And she's teaching etiquette, Western etiquette, I have to emphasize, for Chinese women who are, I guess, in a place where they have more and more financial status or social status, and they want to come across as prim and very respectful and almost modern, because they want to be seen as someone who understands Western culture, and they can present themselves in a way that's really respectable, right, from kind of like a foreigner, a Western kind of perspective. So she teaches these etiquette classes, and I couldn't believe my eyes what I saw. She was teaching them how to eat a banana with a fork and knife. Now, never in my life have I literally seen someone put a full banana onto a plate, cut the tip off, cut the end off, I call it the butt of the banana off. Then you slice from the center, from the left, all across horizontally. Then you flip it with your knife over, okay? And now you don't laugh. I'm teaching you etiquette. Then you cut from slice to slice, I think one slice at a time, because you're not, chopping up food for your dog. So you put your fork down, yes, and then you start to slice the banana one piece, and now you can eat the banana, right? And never have I ever seen anyone eat a banana like this, but she was also talking about how to eat caviar, and how you have to burst the little fish eggs on the roof of your mouth with your tongue, and it was quite thorough. I have to say, it was very thorough.
And what's the point of it?
Okay. Okay. All jokes aside, it was an extremely, extremely expensive etiquette class. And she has a waiting list. She teaches very small groups. It's intense. It's intense as in she's getting a lot of business, and people are paying big bucks for this. I don't want to say that she's just teaching women to eat a banana with a fork and knife in a really like in a manner that's too slow. Like I just need to eat the banana. But I guess these women have time. But it's much more than teaching people how to fold a napkin, how to use utensils, how to eat a banana. I think the value she's providing is much more than that. So she's telling some sort of story which the people do full-heartedly believe, and then they're willing to purchase it, right?
Yeah, they buy into the story, and therefore they have the perception that this is this valuable. And you can see it as well in the coaching industry. You get coaches that charge a minimal amount. I don't know what the lowest rate is, $10, I don't know, to coaches that sell packages for several $100,000 to millions of dollars actually. And it's just because of the perception that the people have, really. Of course, when it comes to the coaching business, you better know what you're doing, and you find a way to sell it in a way that's ethical for you, that this is this valuable for the person, that way the work that you're doing or that the person is doing with you is this can potentially bring this kind of value if you're charging higher packages fee. But it just shows you what's possible, and people kind of get stuck in the idea that they can only charge per hour or something like that, while actually that's not true. And the important point when it comes to pricing and doing things as well, that is you gotta ask for it. So if you want to charge higher fees for your services, well, then you gotta put it up and you gotta stand behind it and just do it. Because it's not like someone's gonna come and tell you, oh no, actually I'm just gonna pay you more. You gotta actually ask for this kind of prices, and think about the perception as well. And there's where the whole branding can come in, and the marketing and all of that. And you can look at different brands as well, and the behavior of them when they're becoming more luxury, for example. We watched this video of this guy, Dan Locke, I think we mentioned him before, where if you want a certain bag from some brand, I'm really bad with brands, I have no idea about them. They basically, you go and you say, I want to buy this bag, and they turn you away. They say, well, we don't have it. You can come back in 5 weeks or whatever.
I think you're talking about the Birkin by Hermes.
Maybe.
Okay.
I have no idea. Or if you want it in a different color, they're like, no, we only have it in black. And so there's certain hurdles that they have to overcome in order to get it. But of course, if you have to overcome hurdles, well, it makes it more valuable in your view. And here's the funny thing as well. When you pay a higher price for something, you naturally perceive it as more valuable. There's studies, I cannot tell you which study exactly, but with wines and different things that you can pay more, and you do blind testing, and people often cannot actually tell the difference between the more expensive wine and the cheaper wine. But when they know which one is the more expensive wine, of course that's the one that tastes better. And it's not something that they just make up, it actually tastes better to them in that moment. That's their experience.
I think pricing is such an interesting topic because it's about money, isn't it? Yes, it's about value, but it's also about money. And that's a topic where many people, or even most people, have very, very complicated, or at least some kind of attachment to. So we probably grew up in a household or with parents who had their idea of what money is, and especially what it means. So when we are trying to put a price rather on our service or product, sometimes we can take it very personally, as in that must reflect what I am worth, right? And it can go either way. It can go, okay, I don't feel that great about, I don't know, maybe say starting a new business, or about even myself, therefore I want to start really low, like way lower than market price, and that doesn't actually serve you well at the end of the day. Or you can be on the completely other end of the spectrum, and you want to increase your price, or you want to go for a really high value package or something that's very high end, but maybe that brings up something emotional within you. Maybe that makes you nervous and not quite comfortable. So there is something to pricing, and I have experienced that a lot of it has to do with your own relationship with money, how you deal with that, and whether you're able to make peace with it and drop the thinking, the attachments, and
the beliefs.
Yeah, the sticky stuff that's attached to it. Because like we said, like all these examples, right? Of the VIP pass to meet Demi Lovato, the etiquette class to cut and eat bananas, all of these things, they're at completely different price points, but the market or your customer, they're willing to pay whatever they think is right. And sometimes when it comes to pricing, when we are too caught up in our own mental stories, we're doing a disservice to our own clients, and we're just not meeting reality where it actually is, but we're busy just, I don't know, being messed up in our own head about money and trying to, I guess the best way I want to describe it is to project our own feeling or story about money onto the pricing and onto what our customers should pay when they know what they want to pay.
Yeah. And I think that's what you're saying is really important to realize, that money for a lot of people is a very loaded topic, negative or positive. And when we're talking about the different price points, I personally have absolutely no judgment or think anything about it, really. There's places for high price points and places for low price points. It doesn't matter. There's nothing to it. But often people put a lot of thinking around it and lots of beliefs about it. And if you're in that place, taking care of that can really help you to step up your game and liberate you to be more flexible in what you want to charge or what you want to do with the money. Because I can just give you an example where I was working with a potential client, and she was very afraid of money in a sense. She felt very uncomfortable with money. And whenever she got money, she wanted to spend it. She needed to spend it. That she was like, oh, I have money. I got to do something with it. It was almost like there was like a pressure to get rid of it. Now, if you're trying to accumulate money and you have this kind of feelings inside and believing that you have to act on them, well, it's going to be very hard to accumulate money in that instance. So taking care of those kind of things, I can really recommend as an entrepreneur, that can potentially change the game for you of what you can do and achieve.
And I want to end this episode by, I guess, wrapping it up and relating it back to honesty, right? So it's not just honesty with ourselves, but with this whole idea of pricing. If we are going to increase our prices over time, and a lot of people do, we better have some kind of justification. You must feel good about that. And I don't mean 100% comfortable or, that it's completely in your comfort zone, let's say. But if you're going to increase, for example, the pricing of your product, then it better be better, right? Or maybe you have grown as a person and that's why your service is more. Or maybe you've seen that what you provide is really worth that. Then you can charge that.
Or maybe it has been underpriced.
Yeah, absolutely. but just make sure that there's a level of honesty. Don't just increase your price because you're like, oh yeah, well, I listened to this podcast and I realized, people are paying 2.5K to see Demi for 30 minutes. Well, I can charge the same for, 30 minutes with me. I'm sure I have crazy fans too. Like, just be really honest with yourself, right?
But actually, I'm actually the opposite with what you're saying. If you want to put your price up, just put your price up. For me, it doesn't have to be a justification. You have to be comfortable with it, though. Comfortable with it. Like, you want to do it. You have to stand behind it. I'm completely on that with you. But otherwise, if you want to put it up because you want to put it up, well, then you put it up. But you got to live with the consequences as well, which is certain people will not want to pay it. Certain people might drop out. And you'll attract potentially other kinds of clients as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean exactly justify as in you have to defend it, but it must make sense to you.
Yeah.
Like, it must feel right. You must be at peace with it. Doesn't mean you're 100% like cozy-vozy with it.
Yeah.
But it must make sense for you. And that's the honesty that I'm pointing towards. So with that honest thought, I want to ask you today, what price do you want to price? I need to start using another word. But you know what I mean. Your product or your service at. Maybe you already have a product or service. What kind of thinking, what kind of belief did you have around money when you did create that price point? And where are you at now? And what are you actually comfortable with charging now? Because we gave a lot of examples that were, I don't want to say outrageous, but they are very extreme examples of what people are willing to pay. And we're just touching the iceberg here. I mean, we didn't go into the $1 billion category. And I'm sure there's some pretty wild stuff out there that people are charging for millions. So feel into this topic and see if maybe you can feel a bit more clarity and peace with around this topic of money, around this topic of pricing, because it's going to really help you and it's going to really help your customers too.
All right. Good night.
Jachym's ready for bed and I am too, so we'll talk to you again tomorrow. So have a beautiful evening and good night.